So good evening, everyone, and welcome to the December meeting of the Central Beaverton Neighborhood Association Committee. I am Tom Drain. I am the chair, at least for tonight. So why don't we go around and I'll go ahead and just run down the roster, and if you wouldn't mind telling us who you are and what brought you to the meeting tonight. And starting up looks to me with the board. So Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda Clark. I'm the recorder for the Central Beaverton NAC and the Community Engagement Manager for Beaverton Civic Theater.
Great. Kevin?
Hey, I'm Kevin. I am the Executive Director of the Beaverton Downtown Association, a downtown resident, and a board member here.
Kinsey?
Hi, everyone. I'm Kinsey. I am a Central Beaverton resident, and I'm a board member.
Lovely. John?
Hi, everybody. I'm John Duggar, Central Beaverton resident and also vice chair. Also with me is Quinn. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hey, all. Quinn, Central Beaverton resident and board member.
And a cat that is now out of frame. Jonathan?
Hello, I'm Jonathan, Central Beaverton resident and the BCCI rep for Central Beaverton.
Franziska?
Hello, my name is Franziska Rose. I'm the Public Involvement Coordinator for the City of Beaverton, and I'm the staff liaison to this lovely NAC.
Fantastic. Lulu?
Hi, everyone. I'm with the Communications Department with Tualatin Hills Park and Recreation District.
Fantastic. Officer Sutton?
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Good. I think you. Okay, great. Well, thanks for having me. Sorry I missed everybody last week. I had a stand-in, Officer Picard, and I heard she did very well. She enjoyed it, at least. She told me that. So not too much anything earth-shattering to pass. The one thing I do want to harp on this time of year with regard to what we're responding to a lot of is theft. Theft. Specifically package theft and mail theft. It's been at quite an uptick. Recently, somebody was arrested. I'm not sure what for. I think he had warrants, but he had a backpack full of mail, full of a lot of people's mail from all over town. So just remember to check your mailboxes, extra mail at the end of the evening, or remind your neighbors, things like that. And then package theft, of course. This is just the ripe season for it, with everybody ordering so much online. I think this year it's even doubled what other years would be. These packages are going to be showing up on everybody's doorstep, especially while people are out and doing things. So that is kind of the season right now with getting ready for the holidays is, those easy snatch and grab package theft or mail theft are very easy. So please watch out for that. Any questions for me? I guess I haven't seen anybody in a couple of months in the NAC. So anything going on that you guys think I should know of, or any questions about anything specific?
Nothing's coming to mind.
What's a good thing, maybe?
Yeah. Well, I've been very boring and staying inside my home, so it's not a lot of exposure to the community, unfortunately, or fortunately.
Okay. Well, that's good. I'm glad there's no major issues going on. Something I am going to bring up, and I don't have a ton of detail on it, but I do want to mention it. Across from the library, the Beaverton Community Center is now operational as a temporary warming shelter or winter shelter. I'm sure most of you have seen that or know this. I'm just throwing it out there. The only statistics I know that it is not a walk-in shelter. It has a capacity of 30 beds. And if you do know somebody or know somebody in the community that does need assistance with getting in a shelter, that is an option, or there's others throughout Washington County. Everything is application-based right now probably for COVID reasons. I don't know specifically, so I'm kind of guessing. But the shelters and the services are out there if somebody's in need.
Excellent. Anything for Officer Sutton? Well, that's easy. Thank you very much as always, and have a happy holidays, and we will see you in the new year.
Thank you so much as well. One more time, I've said this, I think, every month. I am always available. Email is the best way to get a hold of me. If someone has a question you think of later, please email me and I'll do what I can for you.
Sounds great. Thanks for your
All
time.
right, thank you, folks. Have a great day. Take care.
All right then. Let's see. Let's real quick roll through. I think we got 2 more introductions real quick, and then we will get to the remainder of the agenda. So, Lili Boicourt.
That was
I
the French pronunciation, yeah. Yeah, it's Lili Boicourt. But that is how you would pronounce it if you were in France. I am with ODOT Community Affairs, and I'm here tonight to talk about the upcoming Highway 217 Ox Lane project.
Fantastic. And finally, our phone attendee, Frances Miller. You now have talking privileges.
Hi, I'm Frances Miller. You hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay. I live at the Beaverton Lodge Independent Living Retirement Center, so we don't have any problem with our packages being left outside the door. They're brought in and protected. I presented before the NAC a little over a year ago promoting the Family Promise fundraiser in the park, which they obviously couldn't have this year. And then a few years ago, I was secretary on the board when Electra was chair. So it's very easy to attend meetings this way.
Excellent. Yes, it does. That does seem to be has been the feedback from some members of this community, and I understand that hopefully we'll continue to be able to have some kind of interaction like this as we once this health crisis has passed. Well, welcome, and we will go ahead and roll into the remainder of the agenda. So, Lulu, what's the news from Tualatin Hills Parks and Recreation?
Hi, everyone. So before everybody came in, we were actually just having a conversation of so many things that have been closed down or put on pause until next year. But we do have a lot of things available for the community in the way of parks and trails, nature play, and other resources like the virtual rec center that's in English and Spanish, full of free activities, free classes. Now we have free virtual classes in person, like happening at the moment. So it's a little bit more interactive. So there's lots to see, mainly on the website. You will find all that information. We do have a few things going on. For example, Fitness in the Park is going to be ongoing until December 18th. And then we restart again in January. So these are opportunities where people 6 feet apart or more actually, they meet at a certain park and they can do yoga, they can do Tai Chi, Zumba classes. And again, it's just ongoing and it's gonna be nonstop. Other things that we have going on right now, very important, is our holiday gift card drive. Normally we do in collaboration with the Beaverton School District. Families give us a list of their wants and needs, and we collaborate with many of the centers and many of the patrons, and we get those gifts going. So obviously this year that was not going to be a possibility, but we work with the school district and they're asking for gift cards. It could be $5, $10, $50, $100, whatever people can send in, and people are actually mailing them to our main office on Walker Road. All the information is also on the website, and we're still collecting them. A lot of fabulous people have sent in gift cards, but we still need a little bit more, and we have until December 15th. And again, it's all for families within Beaverton School District. The lists of those families' names were given by the schools themselves. Other than that, we have a new bridge on Fano Creek Trail. I go through that park a lot, so I've seen it. But if somebody else wants to go around and take a walk in Greenway, you will see that bridge. You will also see things happening, which is not close to us, but in the Nature Center, there's going to be a little bit of movement. We're naming new parks. If you go on the website, you will see a little bit of information on that. We've been very intentional in doing very inclusive outreach to get those names out there. So right now we're asking people to let us know what they think of those names. And again, they're on the website. I hope you can go in and give us your feedback. Mobile recreation programs, still ongoing. People, THPRD staff members going to school district where they distribute lunches, but also to apartments and to parks, delivering family kits full of activities. And they're also giving out masks and hand sanitizer for the community in general. And I think that's about it. Inclement weather and other information COVID related, always go to the website. And if there's anything you need from us, let me know.
Lili, would you mind sending me the information about the park naming? I'd love to include that in our neighborhood newsletter that we send to all of the NAC leaders. I think they would be really interested in that.
Sounds good. Will do.
Lulu, about that as well. This is not this NAC, but before I lived here, we lived in Highland, and THPRD acquired some land from the church. Can't think of the name of the church, but the church,
Unity?
the big circular church on Hall. And we had a working name because we would volunteer at the neighborhood to do some like deep, get rid of the weeds and stuff. We just called it Fir Grove East because it was east of Fir Grove Park. This has been a couple years ago, but the neighborhood really felt strongly that that park should be named in honor of the Native American tribes. There was a pathway through Highland. And at the time we ran into a lot of walls with that particular board. And so I think the neighborhood got frustrated. But there was a pretty significant trail from Hillsborough, the Hillsborough area to Lake Oswego that crossed through that neighborhood. And they wanted to recognize that. And I think with your new policy and with the new naming of the parks, that would be something I think to reach out to the Highland neighborhood. And it would be a really good way to engage with them. They were really excited about that. And it was a really complicated thing to do at that point. There was no, there was no name, but it's one of those things that they were just a little ahead of the game. So I think that's another opportunity to have our parks reflect the people that have always been here.
And reach out. So Liana Harding has been in charge of that program, and she's been reaching out to the community in general, but I will highlight to her about the specific, it's not Unity Church. I forget the name, but I know which one you mean, the big round.
I can tell you, I can pull it up real quick and tell you the name of the church, but they essentially, THPRD acquired the land, the church sold it. And it is right here. It's the Iglesia, it's the Nexus Church. At Hall and 22nd, and the back half of the lot is this like forested section that we just had a working name of Fir Grove East because it was east of Fir Grove Park, and so that was the one they were hoping to do after the native tribe, the Kalapuya.
Perfect. Makes sense. We'll let her know for sure, and for her to reach out to them.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
If you need any help with that, I can help facilitate that as well to get you on the Highland NAC agenda or whatever is needed or desired.
I will let Liana know. Thank you. Thank you for that.
All right, fantastic. Any other questions or comments for Lulu? All right, thank you very much as always. And moving on to Jonathan with the BCCI report.
I don't have anything for this month. Our November meeting was canceled due to lack of agenda, so I got nothing.
And then I guess there's nothing going on at BCCI. Is there going to be a December meeting, do you know?
Yeah. Yep,
okay.
There will be.
Well, we'll look forward to hearing about things in January.
Yeah.
City updates from Franziska.
All right, great. Thanks so much. So a couple big things going on. So first off is the interim city manager recruitment update. The recruitment for an interim city manager continues to support new city charter implementation and the recruitment for a regular city manager. In November, city councilors and city leadership held candidate interviews for the position. The national recruitment included local candidates as well as candidates from several different states. Finalists were invited to participate in a public social hour that happened on last Tuesday, actually at 5 p.m. During the virtual event, community members and staff had the opportunity to hear from the candidates and shared feedback via a survey. The results of the survey are being considered by City Council during final decisions. And the selected interim city manager is expected to be announced in mid-December. The interim city manager will begin in January and is expected to serve in the role for a 6-month period and support the transition to a regular city manager in spring. And for more information about Beaverton's new voter-approved charter, as well as a link to the video recording of the public social hour if you wanted to watch it but couldn't attend, visit www.beavertonoregon.gov/charter, and I'll put that link in the chat as well. Beaverton Winter Lights. Experience the wonder of Beaverton Winter Lights this season from December 4th through January 3rd as locations throughout the city become tapestries of color, inspired by the magic of the season and the breathtaking beauty of winter in the Pacific Northwest. The displays will be open nightly for viewing and photo taking at 5 different sites to provide a safe way for community members to explore our neighborhoods and have shared experiences this winter. This new way to celebrate allows for social distancing, and visitors are encouraged to wear a face covering while enjoying the displays. Learn more and view the display locations at beavertonoregon.gov/winterlights. And again, I'll put that in the chat as well. And then One Book, One Beaverton. The book Just Mercy, A Story of Justice and Redemption by Brian Stevenson was revealed as the title for the 3rd annual 2021 One Book, One Beaverton. As a young lawyer, spurred by his dedication to justice and mercy, Brian Stevenson co-founded the Equal Justice Initiative, which works to end mass incarceration, excessive punishment, and racial inequality. The book chronicles Stevenson's steadfast commitment to these ideals as he defends clients who have been wrongly convicted or excessively punished. During the month of January, the library will host a series of related special events. Learn more at beavertonlibrary.org/1 as in the numeric 1 book. And I'll put that link in the chat too. And the last update is actually about the 217 Auxiliary Lanes project, but since we have ODOT here, I won't say any of that because they're gonna tell you all the information anyway. So that's what I got. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask.
Franziska, do we, is there a, we walked through the parks the other night with the lights, and then we walked to the round and the new public safety center. Are they just not doing a big tree at all?
No, they decorated like Candy Cane Lane, but it's unfortunately, yeah, it's not like in the past when we've had the regular kind of winter festivities.
Is there a mechanism to get feedback on that?
You can send me an email. I would be happy to pass it along. There's not a formal mechanism to submit feedback to the events program for this particular event, but I would be more than happy to send along any feedback or comments anybody has.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's beautiful, but it's not the same, and it's a little disappointing in Beaverton's. I love that it's spread all over the city, but Beaverton City Park has always been really, really special over the holidays. And last year, I remember even, you just see even at like 9 or 10 p.m., there were so many families out walking in all the lights, and you still see it, but it's just not the same. And it's just a little disappointing that the city didn't really, like, I think it's a great idea to spread it all over the city. I love that part about it, but I was just a little disappointed in that.
Sure, sure.
So that was just like the focus of this. But anyway.
Yeah, no, I can definitely appreciate that, especially as a tree city, you know, with lots of really great trees. So yeah, please feel free to send me an email. You know, we work closely with the events team, so I'd be happy to pass that along to Shannon Mason. She's the events program manager.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I know I can't speak for the city on this, but it was my understanding as I read the press releases that they were canceling the tree because typically the tree lighting ceremony is a large celebratory gathering in years past. I know that from the CERT side, that's usually one of the few large public events that Beaverton CERT plans to volunteer for. So I can imagine that the reasoning was because they can't have a large public celebration, they were just going to pause that for this year. And I would be.
No, I totally get that, Tom, but it's like we drove to Lake Oswego tonight. You know, as ridiculous as that is, you know why? Because it's beautiful there and they have trees and lights everywhere, and it's just frustrating. Like you go into downtown Portland and then there are many times where you know, like we have specific places that are just meant to be beautiful in our city, and this was always one of them. And it's like, I get it. We don't need to have an event. We don't need all that sort of thing. But I just loved, like, it really just warmed my heart to walk around at night in downtown and see parents with their children walking with the light, you know, under the lights. And I even remember, we were talking about this the other day, Kevin, but I remember even telling you about it last year. I was like, holy crap, it's been a year ago, about how we should wrap Holland and Watson with like lights on all the trees, because it just feels so magical and it just feels so amazing to see pedestrians out doing nothing except enjoying being, you know, walking around and being outside and being with their family, and no one was looking at their phones, and no one was, you know, it was just like, I don't know, it's just pretty magical. And I don't want to come down hard on the city, because everything is really hard this year, and bless those people that put together what we have, right? We have 5 different areas with lights, so I don't even want to complain, but I just feel like a little bit of the magic is gone.
Sure. I can definitely appreciate that. I mean, to Tom's point, there is an association with the big tree, that there's, you know, the button with the mayor, and, you know, it goes off, but still, I mean, I take your point. It's totally a fair one, and I will gladly share that feedback. You know, should they, you know, hopefully next year we won't need to do something that's exclusively socially distanced, but should they incorporate, you know, some element of this, you know, to remember that there are other dimensions that may have been lacking this year that people missed.
Yeah, be really soft on the feedback, because again, like it's really hard this year, and everyone's done a beautiful job with what we have. So like, I don't even want to complain.
No.
Thank you.
I totally hear it. So, well, thanks for mentioning that.
So not to skew my own agenda, but this sounds like a really great, if you've got a good point about expanding the kind of display that we have in the Central Beaverton area, especially since we do have the downtown right there, which naturally flows into the rest of City Park and then Holland Watson. And I don't know if this would be a good opportunity, a good project for us as the NAC to try and spearhead, to really encourage either the residents along there to do their own light displays, a la Peacock Lane. I mean, it is being, for the next year, this is the perfect time to start thinking about that. And if there would be any possibility to then partner with the downtown businesses, the downtown association, the city, as they're working on the loop, to really kind of bring public, private, civic together and make this a project to work on, where, you know, there's something that can be gained from each one of those facets. I mean, I'll go ahead and make it.
It's a big opportunity, Tom. It's a really big opportunity. In my mind, like, we've gone a number of places. Obviously, this year is a little different, but even Northwest 23rd in Portland, right? They wrap the trees with lights, and you always see people coming this time of year. And what do? They get in their car and they drive down, and then they get out and they walk with their children. But you know what else they do that's really important? They get out and they buy a glass of wine, or they go and have a coffee, and they spend money in our businesses, and they're all struggling right now. Yeah. And I just think, like, you know, like, this is an opportunity for us. We always talk about, and the city's been really good with this, about creating a place downtown. And, you know, what an amazing tradition that would be if everyone in Beaverton thought, I want to be downtown for Christmas. It's really beautiful and lit up, and what a wonderful place. And, you know, that's one of those things that it's a pretty low overhead for us to do, to create that space and to create a really, truly beautiful, you know, place where and the reality is, like, if people walk there, you know, in December, and they see it's nice, they might walk there in February or March or April, even better. You know, they start to get in this idea that this is the city's heart, and it's worth visiting, and it's worth spending money in. and visiting these unique places. And I think it's a big opportunity, and we should really talk about that. I completely agree with you, Tom.
Yeah, I think it could be both a great celebration of space itself, as well as an advertisement for the community. I mean, business community and just the residential community. So we'll I made a note of it, and we can start. Well, depending on who's making the agendas next year, we'll make sure that we'll start to address that in January, February, March.
Yeah, for sure.
Reaching out to residents and other community members. Great. Fantastic. Okay, Franziska, did you have anything else?
That's it, unless anybody else has any other questions that I can help answer.
I have one.
Yes.
The survey about the potential city managers. Do you know to what extent City Council will listen to what's shared in the survey responses for their hiring process?
Well, the survey is already closed, so I don't know if you had submitted a survey response, but my understanding is that they did take that into consideration in their final deliberations quite heavily. I mean, that's why they included that as part of the programming for that evening. They really wanted to hear what people thought of the final 3 candidates. So we're all very eager at the city to hear who they're hiring. But I know that they definitely were asking me for Zoom reports of the folks that were there, and so they were very interested in the engagement and the public participation for that event, and we're really thrilled that over 200 people were viewing and participating and asking questions. So I do know that there was an emphasis on that.
Okay.
Cool. Anyone else? Okay, then let's move on to the officers' reports. So I know I received Amanda's copy of the last month's minutes and the emails about corrections to that. So I will put it.
We also need to approve October's.
Oh, that's right, because we did not have a quorum last month. So first up for a vote, do we have any approval or edits suggested for the October 2020 minutes? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the October and November minutes as written.
Got a motion on the floor?
I second that motion.
Brilliant. All in favor of this motion to accept November and October minutes as written? Say yay. Yay. Okay. Beautiful. Fantastic. Treasury report. We don't have a Ryan Shaw in attendance. John, were you able to get in contact with Ryan yet?
I texted him and we were, I forgot about it. Like we were supposed to, so I will, that is on my list. It probably won't happen until early January, but I will connect with him after the holidays and get set up.
We'll see what happens after elections tonight. So, maybe we'll have a different treasurer.
Good point.
Anyhow, cool. Well, that brings us to the end of officers' reports. So I will now turn the meeting over to Lili Boicourt and Kelly Martin, I believe is your colleague. And they are going to tell us about the OR 217 Auxiliary Lanes project.
Okay, hi everyone, thanks for having us. I don't think I've visited your neighborhood association before, so it's nice to meet you. We're here tonight. I'm here with Kelly Martin, who's the project manager for this upcoming Highway 217 project. And I'm just going to give you a very brief overview right now, and then Kelly will go into some details, and then we'll have time for some questions. So I'm guessing you are all familiar with Highway 217 and have all your secret or not secret opinions about it. We see it too. So we know that there's a lot of sort of unpredictability and bottlenecks and trouble merging. And so this project that we have been in design for a couple of years now, that's going to construction in a little over a year from now, is designed to help reduce those bottlenecks that keep occurring on a very regular basis on the highway and improve safety. And we're also making some bicycle and pedestrian improvements in the 217 area, building some sound walls. Kelly will go through it all, but it's a pretty big project. It's a $134 million project, and it is starting construction the end of next year, end of 2021. We're pretty excited about it. So Kelly will talk you through it, and I'll bring up a couple graphics. One quick thing, we do have an online open house. I know you mentioned this a little bit earlier, Tom, that is up and running right now until December 17th. So I'll put a link to it in the chat, and it has more information. It's got a fancy video. You'll see me and Kelly again, and others. And so it's a good chance to take a look and see, get a little read and learn more about it at your leisure, and weigh in if you have any comments or questions. So I encourage you to take a look at that. But for now, I will pass it on to Kelly.
Sorry, I was muted. Hi, I'm Kelly Martin, and I am the project manager who is in charge of the OR 217 project. And the purpose of this project is to improve the safety and help prevent bottlenecks on 217 between Beaverton Hillsdale Highway and Oregon 99W by adding auxiliary lanes. The issue is that we have 10 interchanges in just over 7 miles. These short merging distances and the high traffic volumes in the area lead to merging conflicts and high crash rates, which also lead to travel delays. The schedule is to go into construction in late 2021 and continue through 2025 in different phases. The overall project is around $134 million. Most of it is being funded by the Keep Oregon Moving project. However, we have been in partnership with the city of Beaverton and Washington County to help incorporate some additional bicycle and pedestrian improvements in the area. And so I want to make sure that though the majority of the money is coming from ODOT or from the House Bill 2017, I want to just highlight that Washington County and Beaverton both put in some money so that we could make some pretty significant bicycle and pedestrian improvements as well. So we will be adding auxiliary lanes to help reduce the bottlenecks by giving drivers more space and time to merge safely. The southbound auxiliary lane is going to run from the Beaverton Hillsdale Highway down to Oregon 99W, and then the northbound auxiliary lane will connect from 99W north up to Greenberg Road, and a second auxiliary lane will continue to Shoals Ferry Road. There will be closures that include 24/7 single lane closures and full one-way directional closures during the construction of this project. Allen and Denny Frontage Road. So between Allen Boulevard southbound on-ramp and the Denny Road southbound off-ramp, we're going to replace those with a new southbound 2-lane frontage road, very similar to what you have between the Oregon 8 and Oregon 10 right now on both sides. We're going to be putting in that same type of CD road on the southbound direction, and that will help us to eliminate the Allen Boulevard on-ramp and the Denny Boulevard off-ramp. So that will help to remove some of that conflict area. The bike and ped improvements, we're going to widen the sidewalk on the north side of Denny Road from Fano Creek Trail to Southwest 105th Street. We've already worked with and extended the help to extend the project that the city of Beaverton did to the west of this location along Denny Road. I believe they went over all the way over to the school. And so we connected into their project, and we're going to continue it on to 105th. We're extending the Fano Creek Trail along the east side of 217 up to Allen Boulevard. So where the trail currently heads off to the east, and sorry, got to make sure I have the right directions. Where it heads off to the east and stops going in the northern direction, we're going to extend it to the north and connect into Allen Boulevard. There's going to be new sidewalks and bike lanes on the Northern Hall Boulevard overpass. And this is going to be accomplished by widening the Northern Hall Boulevard overpass by 19 feet. And then we'll put a sidewalk in on the northern side, and there will be bike lanes across in both directions, which right now the bike lanes kind of lead up to the bridge and then just drop and disappear. And there is a sidewalk on the southern side of the structure. So now you're gonna have sidewalks going across both sides, both the north and the south side of the structure, and you'll have bike lanes. We are also replacing the Southern Hall Boulevard overpass in Tigard. That's between Faffel and 99W. And that's going to be including wider sidewalks and bike lanes. The Southern Hall Boulevard overpass replacement, the overpass will need to be rebuilt and make room for the auxiliary lane that will pass underneath it. The vehicle lanes in both directions will be closed for 6 months. In Tigard, that's the southern crossing of Hall Boulevard. The bikes and pedestrians will have access across a bike bridge that will be, or a pedestrian bridge that will be constructed as a temporary bridge across the highway so that they do not have to detour as far as we're detouring the vehicles. The new overpass will be earthquake resilient, ADA compliant, and have wider sidewalks and bike lanes. Additional elements. We are adding additional safety elements to the Shoals Ferry Road, Allen Boulevard, and the Denny Road overpass, including new bridge decks, adding protective screening to, I believe that's just to Allen and Denny, and then improving the bridge railing on those 3 structures. We're adding 4 sound walls that were voted in favor of, sorry, my screen just moved everything. The sound walls are going to, they were voted in by the benefited residents in 2019, and on the map that Lili just brought up, you can see kind of the lime green. You see the 4 locations where those sound walls are being added. And then all detour routes will be established in partnership with local jurisdictions. So we are meeting with the various agencies. We're meeting with City of Tigard, City of Beaverton, with Washington County, the Parks and Rec Department, with the Water District, who has a lot of projects out here. We are meeting with those different agencies to make sure that we are coordinating the best that we can with this project between their projects and the needs of the residents in the area. Outreach is, as Lili mentioned, we have the online open house currently available on our website at www.highway217.org. And you can send questions to Lili, and her contact information is on the website, or you have the contact information through here. The design will be finalized in 2021, and construction contractor will be selected in the fall of 2021. And we, you'll hear from us before construction starts, but we're anticipating construction to begin around this time next year. So are there any questions?
I have one to start. Actually, I have 2. First is the between Beaverton Hillsdale Highway, you have an on-ramp to the 217 South, and then that coincides with the off-ramp that I believe, looking at the map, off-ramp to Allen. That's a problem area, right? Is that gonna? It looks like that's staying in place. It looks like the off-ramp to Denny is going away, but in that particular, you have people merging onto the highway from Beaverton Hillsdale Highway southbound. At the same time, you're asking people to merge off the highway. So that creates a lot of conflict that I don't, am I missing something? Is that not being addressed?
That we're hoping that part of that is being addressed by the fact that we're going to extend that lane through. So yes, you will still have the people who need to merge into that lane to exit, but the people who are coming on at that location do not have to move over. That lane is going to continue through. That's where the auxiliary lane is starting. And so you will still have some potential conflict at that location. However, as it continues on, they don't have to merge in right away and continue down. And then when they get to the other side of Allen Boulevard, there will not be traffic coming on at Allen because we will be removing that on ramp.
That makes sense. The other question I have is, and maybe this is way too dirty, I don't even know how to ask this question, but like sometimes when they repave, like 26, when you drive, it's really, really, really loud pavement, like no matter what car you're in, and then you'll hit like a really quiet pavement, and then it's back loud again. And I don't know if you guys have thought about that, like what the mixture of the I don't know, like it's just, some of it's really awful, like as far as how loud it is, and it just, you know, addressing the capacity thing doesn't address the experience. I guess I don't know how to ask that question. So if some credence could be to like the quality of the quietness of the road or something, that would be really great.
So typically, this is my understanding, and this is actually, we probably can look into getting a better answer to this, but my understanding is when you have fresh pavement down, it's quiet. And over time, it gets louder. And it doesn't seem to matter what pavement we put down. When you first fresh pave it, it's going to be quieter. And then over time, it's going to get louder. And so the difference is if you have newer pavement versus you have older pavement. And then there's a difference between the pavement and then if you go over like a bridge structure. And typically when I'm driving, that's where I hear the loudest is when you go over a bridge structure. And a lot of times you're crossing the bridge structure and don't realize that's what you're crossing. They have a different makeup of how they're done with a bridge deck. They are not done with pavement. And so that's where you get the difference of you're riding along really quiet and all of a sudden it's like, this is really loud, what's that? And then it goes back to quiet. Typically that's you're going over a bridge structure and it's the bridge deck that you're hearing, and we don't pave, paving those creates more problems. Does that kind of answer? It doesn't necessarily solve what you're asking, but that's the explanation.
Yeah, I don't know enough. I just know like when I travel outside, like it's just Oregon's pavement seems really loud relative to other places. And I'm not sure, maybe we just have a bunch of old pavement, but
we do.
To her point, 6 was super quiet when they first paved it like 4 years ago, and then it's gotten loud over time.
Yeah. I don't know what it is, but it just, I don't know if we need to add some like feathers to it or something.
I'm just gonna,
I don't know.
Gonna jump in here to remind you, John, you're from Florida though, right?
Yeah, they're oddly quiet pavement in Florida.
Well, that's because
oddly
there's no frost heaves in Florida. So everything's still 1950s concrete, which is very hard.
It's one of the few things they do not awful in Florida.
Some parts of Florida.
I will add a couple of things. Studded tires really tear up our pavement. So that's one difference between here and Florida, that it does, it definitely shortens the lifespan of our asphalt. And like on 26, for instance, because we're not going to pave 10 miles at once because we do the paving that matches the funding, then we get a little bit of that patchwork. But I will say for 26 specifically, I know this is a side note and off topic, but I wanted to tell all of you this anyway. We have a paving project scheduled for this summer on 26 from Sylvan to Cornell Road, and that's in both directions. So just a little plug, you're going to see us out there this summer, and there'll be some traffic disruptions as mostly at night, some ramp closures, but we are paving that section summer 21.
This does not belong in the camera.
I have just a quick question related to 217 while we're on the topic, and don't want to spend too much on that. Like 6 months ago, I noticed that I think paint was spilled, the white paint from basically the the 26 to 217 interchange all the way. You can just see it in the the number 2 lane all the way down past Denny, traveling south. I don't know if anyone else noticed all the paint that's spilled. I was just wondering from a financial perspective, who's responsible for that? And I noticed it just hasn't been taken care of, and I don't know if there is a way to take care of it. Yeah, I guess I'm just wondering how to prevent that situation from in the future, or if that kind of thing can be fixed. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Have you seen all the paint?
I don't know the specifics on that, but my guess is there was some big truck carrying a lot of paint that crashed and had some kind of crash and it spilled. So I don't know the details, but that is not unusual for those kind of things to happen. And sometimes, we have our maintenance crews and they assess what it means and if it needs to be dealt with, or if over time it'll go away and that won't cause a disturbance to the people using the highway. So all of this is my guess, but I don't think it was anything that we did or expected. And I'm guessing the assessment was that it was going to wear off over time and be okay, and it wasn't obstructing the striping or the travel lanes in a way that was a safety hazard. But unfortunately, those things do happen.
I do stuff, and I noticed other cars hugging the side of the lane outside of it, so I could see that being a potential safety issue. I myself hugged the left side of the lane, just because I think a lot of people don't know if it's fresh. It happened recently, and they don't want to destroy their cars on it. But
right, I'll ask. I wasn't aware of it, but I'll ask about it because now I'm curious. How long ago did you say that appeared?
I think it's been at least 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look to have worn down a whole lot, at least.
Mm-hmm.
So
but maybe fixed through this effort.
I've got several questions, if you don't mind. They don't need long detailed responses, but several things came up when you were talking. How final are the conceptual designs specifically for the roads that are passing over 217, like Denny and Allen, or Denny?
What specifically are you asking about?
So you've got the streetscape road width designs for how wide the lanes are, how wide the bike lanes are, how wide the sidewalks are. How final are those?
Those are pretty final. We worked on them with the city to get them the bike lanes as wide as we could, while expanding the sidewalks as much as we could.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of discussion, and there are definitely people who weren't happy with the final answer, but we felt the best answer. And it was through a lot of discussion, including with the city.
Okay.
So just us in the closed off room. Was there something specific you were wondering about?
Well, to be transparent, I am about as pro biking and walking as you can be.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I bike on Denny quite a bit, and it is rather scary and uncomfortable, even for somebody who is very bold like me. And I want everybody to be able to have an opportunity to bike or walk should they want it. And I just want to advocate for if there's anything we can do to make them even safer, put up some bollards or something along the bike lanes. If there's something a little bit extra, then I'm always in favor of that.
And I would have to go back and talk to our designer to find out where they finally landed. But I think that we tried to actually put the bikes, I think we went to a much wider sidewalk on the north side to allow room for the bikes on the sidewalk to have separation.
Okay.
I believe that was where the final decision was.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Thanks. Can we
Is
jump
that going to be marked for bikes on the sidewalk?
I have to find out from the designer. I think that they did say they were going to sign for it.
So
Okay.
something like the St. John's Bridge or the Hawthorne Bridge, where they've indicated that the bike lane continues onto the sidewalk rather than on the pavement.
I believe so. It's been a long time since I've actually been involved in that conversation, so so we need to confirm that.
Follow-up question, has there been any sort of environmental analysis or study about the impact of the project, or about the impact of like the long-term effects of all of this?
Our environmental folks have been extremely involved in this process, and we have been working, we've actually been doing a lot of work with Clean Water Services to ensure that we are mitigating for any impacts that we're making.
Mm-hmm.
So there has been a lot of environmental work in this project.
Okay, is there a way that I can learn more about that? Like a resource on the online website?
It's not documented as specifically as probably what you're looking for on the website, but if you have specific questions, I can bring them back to the team and have somebody get in touch with you that has that expertise.
I don't feel like I have the expertise enough to
ask the questions.
Ask the question, yeah.
Yeah. Why don't
for me? Sorry.
I put my email address in the chat. If you're able to send me an email, you don't have to. It's okay to not ask your specific question, but just as something that I can kind of flag and connect you with one of our environmental people, and then maybe chatting with them, you guys can have that conversation and get some of your thoughts.
That would be great. Yeah. I'd love to learn. Thank you. And I have one final question. Sorry to take so long on all of this. When we build new roads and add new infrastructure, I'm always interested in like how long it lasts until it needs to be maintained, because roads are super expensive, and I just would hate to see like the state and the city digging themselves into some financial trouble because of it. And I'm just curious how long these improvements will last until they need to have some sort of major improvement.
Lili, do we have the projections for? I mean, we look at when the traffic engineers are looking at this in terms of what the traffic volumes are expected to be, and I don't remember what we did for this project. If it's 15 years down the road, like we're not building it. We're building it for future, for now, and to accommodate future growth. So it's not. The idea is it's not designed and then immediately sort of obsolete because it's not working anymore. As far as maintenance, like in terms of just the pavement quality and just things, needing to be addressed, we often are coming through and repaving about every 10 to 15 years on the highways. So it should be a while until we're back in that section. Now, that said, our planners are studying the other sections of 217 and looking to see how we can, the ones that aren't included in this project, like on the north end by Walker and on the very southern end. So we don't have funding for anything yet, but there could be future projects similar to this one in other parts of the highway.
Okay, thank you. That's all. Sorry to monopolize everybody.
That's all right. Speaking of the future, I'm wondering I mean, this is kind of it's an evolution of 217 and traffic access. I know that the region is definitely outgrowing a lot of its road structure. So some of the solutions to that are more on the metro government side and public transportation, with them finalizing the Southwest Corridor project and establishing those routing and rights of way. Was there any discussion with Metro during this process, since you were going? It was my understanding you had to get a little bit of extra property in order to make that like lane between Allen and Denny. Is that correct? So I'm just wondering, was there any discussion about exploring rights of way for continuation of max down 217 eventually? I didn't know if that was part of the scope of this project or not.
We've had some conversations with, I know that I've looked over the plans for the Southwest corridor that they've sent out. We have not necessarily been coordinating with them as far as expanding. This project has not. I know that the agency, and I am not part of those conversations. I know the agency has been having conversations with them. I know that we are actively involved with the Southwest corridor, but I honestly cannot answer what those discussions have been or what the involvement has been.
And I think that we were, I think the big thing was that there wasn't going to be any impact to this project if Southwest Corridor was approved. I know that they're looking, I think there was going to be a new overpass potentially for the MAX trains, but I think the big thing was that there wasn't going to be a conflict between what we're doing and what TriMet would be doing if Southwest Corridor was approved. Is that correct, Kelly?
Yeah, and that was why I was looking at the plans, was just to ensure that they're looking at going over the top of 217, kind of close to the Costco off of 99W. And so just making sure that their plans and their designs are leaving enough of a footprint underneath them so that if we do our future projects on the highway, that we're not going to impact their new structures. So that's the type of coordination that I've been involved in. And I don't believe that we've had any impact. And you mentioned that we purchased additional right-of-way for the connector road between Allen and Denny.
Yeah, the auxiliary lane, yeah.
Yeah, and we are getting some temporary easements and potentially a little bit of right-of-way there, and it's for like the ponds for the water treatment. And so we're not really moving over outside of our right-of-way other than to make sure that the water treatment that we're doing is, we're pushing a little bit into the rail lines right-of-way there, but we're not really changing the landscape of it. We're just ensuring that the ponds can stay there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I recall reading about it when that acquisition had happened, when the plans were put in place to go with that auxiliary lane plan. So just curious to see what was in terms of the scope of this is looking to alleviate the congestion on the persistent congestion on 217. What, how far it went out into multimodal. Exploring multimodal. I know that ODOT really has nothing to do with TriMet other than negotiating rights of way and things like that. Right. So not that you would be planning it, just in case there was other conversations with Metro or anything like that. So
no, most of our multimodal conversations have been mostly the bike ped improvements and ensuring that we do have the connections all the way through the project from the north to the south, that there is parallel bike facilities. And then, the big one was adding the Northern Hall Boulevard structure, that widening work. That was a huge part of this project, a huge add that we added for bike ped improvements. And people have brought up a few other locations, and we ran out of money. We can't do absolutely everything, but we felt like the improvements that we did select were like pretty major. So I mean, there's the Hall Boulevard one was a huge ask that has been asked for a long time, that we were able to, in coordination, and that was the specific location where Washington County and City of Beaverton also stepped in and said, yes, we want to make this happen.
Gotcha. John, did you have another question?
Yeah, I have one more, kind of a follow-up to Kevin's question. One of the things that, and this is around Denny. So Denny in 217, the Fano Creek Trail, essentially, if you're heading north on the Fano Creek Trail, it looks like on your plan, you would essentially cross Denny to the north side of Denny and then go over there. How do we cross there? Like, is there going to be a flashing light? Is there going to be any infrastructure to get you from the Fano Creek Trail, which ends on the south side of Denny, and there's no lights around there at all to cross, over to the north side, which is apparently where the sidewalk and the bike lanes are?
So my understanding, and I thought this was done, I could be wrong, but I thought that this project was actually constructed this last summer. City of Beaverton put in one of the flashing lights there to cross from the Fano Creek Trail up to the sidewalk on the north side. They were going to put an RRFB in there. The rapid flash.
Okay, yeah, I haven't been in it's been, because that's been closed for a while, so maybe it is now, but I know that they used to just have a yellow pedestrian sign.
Correct. Yes.
There, and that was
No,
not good enough.
we pitched in on a big improvement in that area, and theirs was to go across at that trail and head to the west over to the school.
Yeah.
And we extended from their project, and where their project ended, we extended it to the right, to the east, over to 105th.
Okay.
So we worked with them to extend their project.
Okay. I just haven't been over there because it's been closed for, I don't know, a few months now, and so they were doing construction, and so I haven't ridden it in a while.
So that might be the construction that closed it might have been of the construction of the RRFB that they were supposed to be putting in, because I'm not in that area, so I haven't seen what they finished. And it's their project.
Parks District. Yeah, they were doing all kind of, I think they added a bridge and all kind of stuff in there. So through Fano and Greenway and all that. So
okay.
Anyway, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I didn't have any more.
Yes, Amanda.
I wanted to bring attention to Francis's question in the chat box.
I saw that, but I don't know that actually has any bearing. I don't believe that ODOT has any control over the Parkside Church on Erickson next to Schiffler Park. So I was going to bring that up after we moved on from this agenda item.
That's correct. Tom.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't believe so. Thank you very much for your time this evening.
You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having us. And visit the online open house if you have time, and you'll get to know a little bit more about the project. And my contact information is also in the chat, so feel free to reach out to me anytime, and I'll look out for information from you. And we're happy to come back next year as we're getting ready for construction, and we'll have a lot more specific information about what kind of traffic impacts will be in place over the 4-year project.
That's probably the meeting you'll get some more attendance in.
All right, have a good evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So before we move on to the next agenda item, I do want to address Francis Miller's question about what the plan is for the lot that was bought apparently from Parkside Church on Erickson next to Schiffler Park. And unless anyone else here has any information about it, I know I do not. There's been no development developer asking for time for a neighborhood review meeting for any projects. So unless there's information from the city side, I don't.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything come through the planning commission or anything like that either. I've been keeping an eye out. I know exactly the lot she's talking about.
I mean, we walked
it
past
used to have a single family home. Yeah, I mean, you guys
Mhm.
know too, it was a single family home, and but I haven't seen any. We'll once we hear something, Francis, just keep coming back. I'll let you know.
It'll either be an agenda item, and there'll be a sign up on the lot to let you know about it, or you'll hear about it in the minutes if you receive the minutes. So Jonathan, did you have something? Sorry, yeah, Jonathan.
Yeah,
did you have something?
There was a demolition sign and it said the owner was THTRD.
Okay.
So I'm assuming the park's expanding?
I
Franziska?
can find out more and send us information because I do know that we're there in some capacity, but that's all the information I have. So I took note and we'll get back to you all.
Interesting.
about
Okay. Yeah.
what's happening.
More than that.
And I will also source my contacts to see if I can get some any info as well.
Excellent. Thank you for asking, Francis. Then now we've got things are happening. Okay. Well, then moving on. Let me make sure that I know what I'm moving into. So at this point, since this is the last meeting of 2020, what I wanted to do was just briefly kind of review what we've done as the CBNAC, especially with the public health crisis. And so at this point, I'm just going to run down my list of what I have. I think it's important to recognize that, you know, we do accomplish things other than just listening to developers talk about things and that we've hopefully given back somewhat to the community. It's been definitely harder this year than in past, but also make sure that we've got, you know, some information to then relay through newsletter, through our own webpage, to attract the other community members, to make sure that they know that we're not just a bunch of schleps who meet every month to, I don't know, talk about roads. So with that in mind, there's the kind of three things, and a couple of them were very, very simple and easy. In March, I know Kevin was key in coordinating and then relaying to us information about the Open Air Recovery Act from the city of Beaverton. And I will say that I did send a letter of support on behalf of the CBNAC to the council, and so that has seemed to be proceeding well, not just for the city, but for not just for our neighborhood, but I was seeing, you know, businesses throughout the city taking advantage of that. And then more specific to us, during the First Street Dining Commons, I know there were a couple of contacts that I made on behalf of this committee to the council or commissions, in order to make sure that they knew that we had support of that we supported very vigorously those projects.
Can I add something to that?
Absolutely.
I think at the beginning of those conversations, like when everybody was even trying to think about, like, is this feasible? Is this something we want? Like, having the support of this committee representing residents, I think was super helpful in generating and keeping some momentum. So yeah, thank you, everybody. It's been super helpful for downtown and hopefully for Beaverton at large too.
Fantastic. And I mean, to the point where, you know, it was released as at least the First Street Dining Commons seems to be like kind of the big public good that has come out of that, and it's very exciting that it's continued through the winter. And, you know, haven't been down there as much as in the past, because at least not during the evenings, because well, I got a little baby and we don't always get out. But if for other members of the community, I know some people mentioned that they had just recently gone down there and had been introducing it to other city employees and community members, and they were getting the word out. So for those of you who have been out a little more frequently than I am, have you gotten a bit of the zeitgeist about whether the rest of the community is still excited about this and wants to see it continue through 21 and past? Like I think most of the members of this board are excited to see, or is there more of ambivalence about it? I don't know if anybody's got anything for me.
I mean, I can speak to what I know, word on the street. So
give it to me. Come on. Come on, Spider-Man.
So in corresponding with the library director who I just incidentally ran into, who was also at the First Street Commons, you know, the word on the street is the city is wanting it to continue. And in fact, add other amenities to make it even more inviting. So And, you know, now that I have finally experienced it for myself, I mean, I've literally told every single person that I've been in contact with, oh my gosh, I just went down to the First Street Commons. Have you been down there? It's awesome. I mean, especially right now, because, you know, not even like in-person dine in, right? Which also includes outside dining for restaurants is not really viable. And so having at least a space where people can go and take their food and be socially distanced and enjoy, you know, an outdoor setting while also enjoying all of the great restaurants we have in downtown Beaverton. I mean, it's awesome. It's really, really awesome. So, I mean, I'm going to keep pushing on my end to make sure that that can be a fixture of downtown, because I think it's a really awesome amenity, especially during these times.
Yeah, maybe this is a good chance to ask you, Kevin, since you are regularly in contact with the surrounding businesses. I mean, there's a lot of, I can see that the restaurants that are adjacent to there that have really been able to expand out into the, not even the dining commons, but into the street parking and take that over and use the sidewalks as well. Maybe excited to continue this once public health restrictions have lifted, but for other members of the downtown community, are they going to be pushing to recover a few 100 square feet of parking spaces, or are they excited to see increased street traffic, pedestrian traffic?
So the city did put out a survey to businesses in downtown and also community members who visited downtown to get feedback on the dining commons. And with both businesses and customers, it was overwhelmingly positive feedback. Like 95% of people said that they loved it. There was business feedback from non-restaurants who said, you know, even though this didn't expand their business area, they still felt like it was good for downtown and brought people downtown who could still support them. So the support is there, and like it's been pretty phenomenal how well supported it's been. There have been a few businesses that have had their own concerns. Maybe their clientele is much older and now like they legitimately don't have parking in front of their business, and like thinking about mobility and accessibility of downtown, like that is a challenge. Or like there's a business who had a row of street parking taken away right near them, and they get deliveries, and now they don't have parking in front of them. They don't have parking beside them. Like the delivery people don't know where to take their inventory. So there are some challenges that people have had to overcome. Those people have been able to share a private parking lot with another business, which has helped. Overall, it's been very favorable. There have been some small challenges, but for something of the scale, like I think we've had a very small amount of challenges.
So do you have any idea, and this is just kind of a question to you, Kevin, maybe you, Franziska, or anybody else, if there are ideas about ways that we can continue to demonstrate our support other than just over and above patronizing the business in the area, you know, make sure that it looks utilized, that once these restrictions hopefully start to sunset next year, that we don't have the traffic engineer going, you know what, we need those 2 lanes of traffic, we need this parking back, and we can continue to use this as a pedestrian, as a non-motor vehicle space. And I'm open to any kind of feedback here because I'm genuinely curious. I want to know how I can help.
Talk with city council members. If traffic commission talks about it again, talk about it with them. And then of course, visit the businesses. If you got social media, post on that or post on the NAC social media. I think city is pretty much in favor, but if they keep hearing people in favor, I think that'll make it more likely to stay.
Cool.
Yeah, I think one option that we should be thinking about from a neighborhood perspective in pushing is largely the city-owned lot where the farmers market is sits empty most of the time, particularly in the evenings, right? But the reality is no one thinks to park there. So what I think we should be pushing the city to do is some signage, okay? Like support our businesses, but park here. And I also think in addition to signing, there's probably an opportunity for us to make it an experience to park there. So like a pathway that's well lit to the businesses. You know, maybe just think about like the overall pedestrian experience. If we want people to park there, like let's make it this really phenomenal 2-block walk, which is, so it's only 2 blocks, right? But like a really well lit space with some really nice signage and maybe some wayfinding things along the way, maybe some artwork on the sidewalk, like make it really cool. Like I want to walk this place because there's art and there's beautiful things and there's really great landscaping, and it's just a good experience to do that. And then I'll park there, you know, like, because the reality is people complain about parking because they think it's scarce and it's not. It's just scarce in front of the door. So if we show them that you want to park like 2 blocks away and there's tons of it, and then I think that we kill 2 birds with, I hate that saying, kill 2 birds with, we positively don't kill 2 birds. We pet 2 birds with one hand.
2 birds with one handful of seed.
Yeah, something.
I wonder if there's any way to incorporate that in the loop concept that they're trying to garner, and if we can make that feedback.
We've got to change the conversation, you guys. We've got to change the conversation from always having to play defense and like have the city council back us to like, okay, let's offer a positive solution. Let's make this a really cool thing. Like, let's do a small investment and create a really, you know, a positive incentive structure that people want to walk. They want to park there and they want to walk around, you know, they want to do those things. And then it goes from we have to protect our public spaces and you know, we're always playing defense to like, let's play offense. Let's put them there, you know, and let's think about things slightly different, you know, and I think this neighborhood with the amount of, you know, people that are excited about urban connections and pedestrian environments, like this is our moment to lead in that space. And I really feel like if we're willing to push and we're willing to present that positive view and that positive plan, the city will listen to us. You know, these are the kind of things that we can really affect change with. And now I'll shut up and get off my horse.
No. That's really super great. I just wanted to mention, since you're talking about the loop, I'm actually one of the staff members that's on the technical advisory committee for the loop. So if you have feedback to bring forth to the project planning, to the technical advisory committee, just please let me know, and I will certainly make sure that that feedback is heard.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, we can draft something very simple about this, rather than waiting for the inevitable traffic commission or board meeting where they address this again. Sure. We can have yeah, because I've in talking to other business owners myself, the only comment that positive or negative that they had is, well, I would love more parking, and that's because they can't park in front of their business and walk right in to do that. And I'm like, there's plenty of parking in the downtown area of Central Beaverton. There's no lack of parking. So anyway, well, that's fantastic. Okay, so good. We've got some try to encourage some positive to come out of this, and we can continue that. I know that there was a mask drive effort to make and obtain and distribute masks to the community, and I'm wondering if we've got, it doesn't have to be exact, but maybe a rough estimate of the number that ended up going out.
Yep. Yeah, we've distributed, I would say, between 500 and 700 masks to people in downtown Beaverton. And you all should be really damn proud about that. It's a great thing. They're reusable masks. They're really well made, and you guys should all feel good about that. And so far, the people that we partnered with that are making the masks, and it's a group of little old ladies that are just phenomenal, led by Joy here in Central Beaverton. haven't requested much. I do think we're probably going to need to make that $500 donation for materials pretty soon. But I think it'll probably be early in the new year. But I am so insanely proud that this group stepped up and made hundreds of masks available. And I'll tell you, the other thing you should be proud about is they've largely gone to people that didn't have them. These have gone to Family Promise of Beaverton. These have gone to lower income people. These went to students at Beaverton in the school district that were getting free lunches. Like, these are the kind of things it's just incredible. Like, they were so grateful for what we were able to do. So be very proud. And that's something I think is a phenomenal story for us to tell.
Yeah, and thank you very much for making those contacts and really taking that and running with it. And that's the other thing that I was going to ask, is if you knew about kind of where they got distributed to. I know some went to local businesses, and we can always call them out, because it's always
the vast majority.
I would like to encourage I would like to celebrate the fact that we had local businesses looking out for public health and wanting to protect their customers and community members, in addition to the Family Promise and the school district and things like that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And then the severe weather shelter, they're getting, I think, another batch of 150 coming up. So, and Joy and her group, they're making about 100 to 150 per month. And their plan is to keep doing this as long as there's a public health crisis. So not only did this group do good work by connecting with them, but like, I'm constantly reminded that there are some really freaking good people in this world. And like, of all the crap that's happened this year, like there's good people out there, and we should be happy about that. They're in this neighborhood too. They're your neighbors, and I just feel really good about that.
absolutely.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah, please do.
John mentioned several of the community organizations who got them. Off the top of my head, we gave around 50 or 75 to downtown businesses like Global Art of Dance, Tan Cafe, Costume Avenue, and there was one or two other businesses that got them, but I'm not thinking of them off the top of my head. But they were all very appreciative as well. So add that to your total, John, if you weren't counting it.
Yeah, that I'd forgotten about, so that wasn't counted. So we're probably closer to 700, and again, it's going to go up by 100 to 150 per month. So if your report comes out like in January, add 100, because they'll distribute another 150 this month.
Yeah, I mean, I was just kind of right now thinking about, we've got the website, the webpage. We should probably do to put something new and different on the Facebook page. So I can very easily type up a little, state of this is what happened in 2020, what your CBNAC did in 2020. And yeah, so the more call outs, the more traffic that we can drive to Tuatan. I mean, I know Tuatan's closed right now, but the local businesses and to increase the awareness of things like the Family Promise and the severe weather shelter and things like that is, the more people know, the more people can benefit.
Well, let me know how I can help spread the word as well, whether that's an article in the NAC Friday update to highlight, the awesome work that y'all have done this year. I mean, I'm compiling stuff for end of year kind of annual report. So any information that you want to send my way to be able to highlight, what you've done in the midst of a global pandemic, I would certainly appreciate and will spread far and wide.
Sure. Yeah, well,
yeah, that's a great great point, Franziska. Maybe we should spread that word, because I would love to see our mask program. I'd love to see us show other neighborhoods what we've done and how they've done it, and they can hit it in their neighborhood. Actually, hopefully this all ends really soon and we don't have to do masks anymore. But I suspect we're probably months and months away from that, just based on volume production of things like vaccines. But I also, it's anytime you can help people that need a little help.
There's nothing that says you can't use that infrastructure that's been established to move on to other projects and to continue serving the community. So can anybody else think of, or did I miss anything that was an agenda item or anything that we formally did as the NAC this year?
We did support the Rosier's group, the virtual,
yep, that's right.
the virtual chalk fest.
Yep. Chalk art.
Yeah, the virtual chalk art.
Winterfest. Did we do anything for you guys for Winterfest?
Snowfest, yeah, you guys are helping us distribute 100 free art kits.
Good.
That's right.
Winterfest, excellent.
Cool. Or Snowfest, just so you have it.
Snowfest.
Snowfest, yeah.
Yeah, I want to make sure that I get it. I would look it up anyway. Snowfest. Okay. Great. Well, cool. Well, great job, everybody. Thanks for attending and helping out for all of these causes. So I think we kind of briefly started discussing this last month, and I put it on as an agenda item. I don't know if anybody looked over the agenda, but for new business, what I wanted to bring up was what kind of projects can we think about for the community for 21, for next year? I don't know that we will be able to plan the big neighborhood meeting like we had initially, we won't be able to, I don't think, instantiate that this year like we were hoping to, or next year the way we were hoping to this year. I think it'll probably be a while before we can have that kind of large community in-person gathering still. But as shown by Highland with their shredding event, and we bounced a couple of ideas around last month, there are opportunities still to do a community event, even with the state of emergency and the pandemic going on. So I've got a couple of things and some information about them, but if anybody else has ideas that they want to toss out, go ahead or speak up.
I'm going to throw out an idea that might be irrational, but I'm going to throw it out anyway.
Bring it.
So
I'm
going to share my screen to demonstrate. There are these roads all over the place in our community, and I noticed this one earlier when we were talking behind the church. Bonnie Bray and Larson, and like a bunch of these roads that almost touch, but there's like one fence in the way that would be a really cool little pedestrian path for a neighborhood. And I'm wondering if we're really creative here and we have like the Central Beaverton NAC funding, like we can help somebody move their fence line or something and have a little gravel path or something just to improve some connections between the neighborhoods so that people don't have to go all the way around if they want to get from place to place. It's kind of outside of things we've normally done. So I don't know if it's way beyond our capacity or outside of our power, but I was just thinking about it.
I think it's a conversation worth having, Kevin. I would love to see us do that. It'd have to be a good neighbor thing. Like we'd have to have willing homeowners and whatnot, but maybe there's a situation where, a homeowner needs a new fence anyway, and we can pay for a portion of it in order to get that public easement or something. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It's an idea worth looking into.
Maybe. I only thought of it because my girlfriend is buying a house and it goes right up to Denny where I don't want to ride my bike. And if I could take my bike through the neighbor's backyard, then it sure would make connectivity a lot easier and safer. I think it'd be fun. I'd love to get people they want.
I'm trying to remember what's the common law, the English common law thing that basically lets you do that lets you kind of wander through anybody's backyard as long as it's along an established path. Does anyone remember what I was just looking at it. I'll put this down as Kevin is breaking down neighborhood barriers.
I think there's an opportunity for us to, and I say this because we had talked about it in lieu of Pride this past year, but it was too hard to pull together. But I think there's an opportunity for us to do scavenger hunts, virtual, where you can put really cool places in the neighborhood, and just a person has to visit all of them or do something like that, you know, and they collect the facts there, and then they show up to a business, and maybe we can partner with, you know, I don't know, whatever business, and we can give them a chunk of money, and they can give someone a discount or like a free whatever, I don't know, just something to get people walking around by themselves or in small groups of their household through the neighborhood, collecting things, because number one, we're building future walkers here, right? We're building people to connect with their neighborhood, but also like we also can, if we set it up correctly, have them start patronizing the businesses. And you know, in a time, if we're being frank, they're struggling right now, and we've got to find new ways. You know, even, you know, from what I understand and talking to some of my friends downtown who are business owners, even with takeout and everything, it's down 40 to 80% depending on the business, and that is not sustainable. You can sustain it for a short term, but you can't sustain it long term. So we either have to figure something out, or at this time next year, we're going to be having conversation on all the empty storefronts and what we have to do that. And I would much rather keep our businesses, find creative ways to do things to keep them in place. We've already lost Big O's Pizza. We've already lost Stukubi, like some places that are just break my heart because I love them so much. And I'm just like terrified that we're going to lose more. So I think we got to find ways to get people safely within their household, or a small group of people that are already in contact with each other, out to these businesses and out to our neighborhood and out to the places where you know, where we can have safe, socially distanced impact on helping them.
Yeah, John, the scavenger hunt idea has been kicking around my head too. It seems something really interesting to be able to pull off. And then I was thinking about the sticking point being like, how do you repeat that? Like, how do you like, oh, let's go out one afternoon and find all of the virtual pieces, and then they're only out there supporting the businesses one weekend. And so to create like the idea of return, have you guys heard of those like mystery subscription boxes where you get a little piece every month? I was thinking, what if even it's a month-long thing where you get a little piece every week? And so every time, so it encourages you to go maybe once a week, or it's a 2-month thing and every one is like 2 weeks long. And then what you do is you collect all the pieces to the puzzle. And then if you get all of the pieces to the puzzle, like you solve whatever it is, then you get to go into a raffle and get like a gift basket that's supported by downtown businesses that we can pay for. Like we can pay the businesses for those items. But what it does is it's like, while you're wandering around, you're going to pick up a hot chocolate. You're going to maybe grab takeout to take home for dinner. Like you're going to be getting to know the streets and the businesses. And even if you're not going to get a haircut today, you're going to be like, oh, there's someplace right downtown where I could. And then that kind of makes it a little bit more of a longer term thing. And there's the fun aspect of not just finding something, but then trying to put it all together. And I don't know, I can see that attracting a lot of young adults.
Yeah, you'd still have the option to partner with like a particular business each week, have them end up at Lionheart one week, Tantan another week, so on and so forth. The florists one week, you know, kind of sub prizes, and then building up to you know, some bigger prize.
Yeah, I think there's an opportunity, man. Brilliant, by the way. Like you and I are on the same wavelength. We were walking the other day, and I found a painted rock too, and something so simple was just, I was like, huh. And then I was like, maybe we can engage the artist community to do some public art too, like little hidden pieces of public art, right? Like we have so many talented artistic people too. Let's figure out how to do all of these things on one, like, and maybe we do, like, to your point, a subscription per month, right? Like we do one in December, and then that's a whole event all the month, or, you know, and then one in January, a separate one. I mean, it would take some work on our part, but I'd be willing to help. I think it'd be a brilliant thing.
Yeah, and at the arts program has done, when I was on the arts commission, we did a couple of round of arts rocks, and like what they were to bring people together, and they painted the rocks, and the thing was to like spread art all over town. But I love your idea about the special artist painted rocks. It reminds me of the thing they do with the glass balls on the coast to promote tourism. It's like go out and find them, and they're really nice and fun. And most people end up just taking a picture of them and leaving them for others to find. And then you do have some people that collect them and keep them. But we could totally do something like that to encourage people to go out. Beaverton rocks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, THPRD has a like a community friendship garden at Schiffler Park that Lulu
So,
made.
yeah, Schiffler Park has we call them message gardens, and they're painted rock gardens. A lot of people move them around the park. Many of them are taken, but many others come in. So it's been growing. We have two, one in AM Kennedy and the other one at Schiffler Park. And because we got a grant through the Washington County, right now we're doing little art kits that has rocks and it has all the paint so people can pick them up. It's been a success. If you all come up with an idea and you want some of those kits, some of those funds, we can use them for that purpose. We have until March to use the funds, but even then after that, we would have funds to support you all with that. And it could be
Brilliant.
part of the scavenger hunt. It could be an activity on its own. It could be, depending on how things look in January, February, bring in a couple of artists that help the kiddos and families create their own rocks. It could be people take them home and then they bring them on their own. So the funds are there and the garden is there and alive.
Yeah, I know that
I love that. I think
the artists that they could help with the professional artist thing. It was so cool to have them learn.
What I'm going to do here is maybe curtail discussion on this particular point, because we can return when we decide, okay, what's the one or two things that we want to do. Maybe then we can break out into that. Did anybody else have other projects to bring up possibilities?
Kinsey, I want to hear hello. We haven't heard much from you tonight. And
Well, she's probably very tired.
I know, it's like midnight. You're still here. But I want to hear, like, do you have anything that you want to see us work on over the next year?
Just like throwing me on the spot here, Kevin.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I like all these ideas. I don't know. I've been trying to think about, diversity and inclusion type of projects we can work on. The problem is I don't have any creative ideas. I don't know if it's time-based because it's like 12 a.m. or if it's just I'm not creative, but I think that's just something we can continue to have on our radar and try and think about. And I even think some of these ideas get at that and just, getting people involved in a sense and, connecting across the community. But that's kind of the only comment I would have. But again, don't have any like great, astounding ideas right now, but I'll think about it.
Cool. Well, so based on some of the other things that we had were brought up last month, there was the possibility of just doing a shred event, which there were other members of in attendance that were like, yeah, we should do that. And we haven't had one. It seemed pretty straightforward for Highland to do in a socially distant, responsible manner. So that's probably kind of a pretty straightforward and inexpensive way to still serve the community. I know I was looking back over the past minutes and looking for any information about a dump event, because I remember reading somewhere that CBNAC had done one. Well, I was kind of looking around for that. I've seen that Multnomah County, other communities that have done them historically have canceled them for the time being. So I don't know whether that's just waste management or the other haulers not wanting to come out and do unnecessary staffing or what, but well, I can continue to look on that. But what I did find was there was previously somebody looking into doing a blood drive in CBNAC, and then check the Red Cross site, and they are in fact still doing drives. They're doing them responsibly. I mean, they're healthcare professionals for the most part, so they know what they're doing. For the most part, I've been in contact with person waiting to hear back again about specific timelines that they're looking at. All of their literature is talking about preparing for summertime. So when there may be more vaccines out, but the current blood supply is lower than it normally is, and it's usually pretty low to begin with. So that's another.
Can I share something quickly?
Absolutely.
I always donate blood, and I've always had a hard time to find a place in Beaverton. I go to Hillsborough, Portland.
Sure. Yeah. I know that. I don't know. I know this is the type of thing that usually shows up to workplaces, and I don't know if Nike's done one at all or recently, or the city has done one for city. They used to show up at like our university and do things. But yeah, my sister-in-law donates regularly, and she's had a hard time finding and getting appointments. And but I like the projects that the ideas that are extended and engaging. But I think it's also nice to have just a single day event that kind of does something for the community, raises awareness for us, and is straightforward. And there's nothing to say that we can't do 2 or 3 of these things, hopefully. So yeah. So I tell you what. So we've got several ideas. I think they'll probably be mentioned in the minutes. When we take until next month, the January meeting, to consider, and then we can weigh in and maybe decide on the 1 or 2 that we want to push forward with. Or 3, depending on how things look. And for the meantime, we'll just table the service projects for 21. Sound good?
Wait.
Yes, really. The Francis Miller asks, what happened to the listing of dangerous intersections such as 9th and Main and Erickson and 10th? There are still problems with views of drivers. For those of you, I know that there was a NAC project to identify and I think try to ameliorate some of these. Jonathan, were you on the board when that was an ongoing project?
Yes. Sorry, I'm called in and I had to mute it on my phone.
That's fine.
Yeah, that was Bobby and Bob. And I don't know what happened with it. They both stopped attending and it just kind of died. Nothing really happened, to be honest.
So it sounds like there are potentially previous projects that there might be some information on in the minutes. I can go back and read over the, Francis, if you have an idea about approximately what month and year those were being discussed in the NAC, and I can find those minutes and we can start to re-examine that as well. Very easy, or very straightforward to do. But otherwise, in the meantime, I'll also go back and look over the minutes and see if I can find any information about what the fate of that particular project was. Was there? Let's see. Let me make sure that I think we're going to be getting into comments and announcements next. So I'll just go ahead and allow our attendees the ability to talk freely. Francis, can I ask you very quickly? I think you might still be. You're permitted to talk, but you might still be muted. What was after finding the list of dangerous intersections, what did you have an action plan in mind to address them?
I thought the board was gonna, I guess, ask the city transportation, whoever handles those. Ironically, some of the obstructions are those little plantings they did at the corners, which were supposed to beautify the city, like at 9th and Main.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for reminding me about that. And I think that was a project that was trying to be followed up on when I first started attending meetings a couple of years ago. So I'll look after that and see if I can find any information about it in the records. But in the meantime, why don't we go ahead and just open up to visitor comments, and if there are any comments, announcements, or concerns, fire away.
Okay, this is Ted Miller, Fran's husband. I'll elaborate on her last comment there at 9th and Main. As you pull up on 9th at Main, those trees and bushes do block your views of coming cars. And when you're on 10th at Erickson and try to look to the south, there's almost always a parked truck blocking your view of the traffic.
I definitely know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So
very briefly to address what you were bringing up about 10th and Erickson, I do recall that Officer Sutton had our police liaison had mentioned, and I'm going back here sometime in the past, it was more than a year ago, that Beaverton was aware of the, there has to be a 10-foot clear distance between the intersection and a parked car, and they at that time were looking to going around and doing a code enforcement on that. Now, whether they've continued to make that a priority or not, but I know that Beaverton, if you were talking about addressing these things, then I know that the BPD at least at one point recently was aware of that.
I think there is 10 feet of clearance, but you still can't see past that truck.
I know the truck you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's there, and that intersection is not great because you're kind of pointed uphill, and you're already back a little bit from the stop sign, so it's difficult. I agree. And we can maybe talk to the traffic commission about addressing these once we can identify the particular problem. Ones I know that there are other members of our board who have had regular have gone in front of the traffic commission to try and get some changes made, and it can be an uphill battle.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for reminding us about that.
So, Tom, I agree. I think going to traffic commission would be a good idea for that. I also think we probably won't get any quick code enforcement on it. So, like thinking longer term, what can be done, and like maybe in these zones where people aren't supposed to park, if we just put something at the street there, like a planter or a bollard or something that keeps it so they can not park there.
Yeah, unfortunately, that truck is legal.
Okay. So it's legal, it's just can't see around it anyways.
Right, yeah.
And it's right across from Sheepler Park where people will be walking to go into the park.
Okay, yeah. We should talk with traffic commission.
Yeah, having used gone through that intersection in all directions as a cyclist, pedestrian, and motorist, it's challenging in each case. So I agree, and especially with the population and that's nearby with with Beaverton Lodge, as well as the condos and things like that, and then the park right across. I'm honestly surprised that I haven't seen any incidents down there, but that's not to say that there haven't been. But
I've almost had a few.
Oh, I bet. Kind of the same way. Just to I know to act with an abundance of caution. Just because I assume that most cars and drivers are out to get me somehow.
Well, while I'm on, I will compliment the idea of parking there where the farmer's market is. We've been reluctant to park there for fear of being towed and such, and I think that would be good to advertise.
It's available parking.
Yeah, Fran and I, we do not patronize the businesses in downtown Beaverton anymore. We're in our late 70s, and that's too far to walk. And even when we drive, we're afraid we're going to have to park almost right where we live, which there again, we're too far to walk. So parking for us seniors is a problem in downtown.
Understand. Well, thank you for reminding us of that, and thank you for joining us again this evening.
So quick, I guess it's worth asking if it hasn't already been done. But I wonder in the meantime, in terms of that truck that's parked at the corner, it might be worth just leaving like a friendly neighborly note on the car. Just letting them know it has been an issue, and if they might be willing to reconsider where they're parking.
I imagine that could be done, but what I think would happen is we just find somebody else's truck there.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that nice open spot.
That's
fair.
That is south of 10th. There are a number of apartment units there, and as is the case with all apartments in the metro area, there's just not enough parking for the number of resident vehicles and or visitor vehicles. It's just it's tough. It's tough for everybody to find a place for their car. So what we're trying to do is encourage the people that can get rid of their cars too, so that the people that need them can use them. Okay. Are there other comments or announcements from the attendees or panelists?
I have a
Nope.
Amanda.
Oh, I was just going to say super briefly, I'm going to send you guys an email later this evening. We have our distribution sites for the art kits. So if you are looking for volunteer opportunities, we'll have that available.
Awesome. Thank you.
And I want to share my screen really quickly because we have 2 murals that have just been approved for the side of Ichabod's and the side of Lake Koya Sushi. So I will,
Which side of Ichabod's?
The side that faces like Big's Chicken and faces the dining commons area. So those artists will be starting on those. That's not what I'm looking for. Okay. Ichabod's. So it's kind of spooky, eerie. And then this one is by a Puerto Rican artist. He barely speaks any English, but he wanted to have something that reflected Puerto Rican art style. And the owners of the NAC 1 building wanted something that showed the dining commons. So I think these are both very exciting. A couple new.
Can we request that dog be made into a Great Pyrenees?
Yeah, you probably could.
Okay, because Odin would love that.
Yeah,
and he's asleep right now. If you guys could see him. I'm just kidding. Those look really cool. I'm really excited for those.
Is that second
I love
one?
that downtown Beaverton is like a place for murals and for art. One thing I love about it.
Is the Nakwan one being supported by the Main Street grant, the state of Oregon one?
No, it's not. So we got the Beaverton Downtown Association got a chunk of funding through the city's neighborhood program to add some art and greenery and stuff to the dining commons area. So we put the planters out there. Now there are these 2 art installations. And then in January, there will be some like sidewalk murals, not very huge ones, but some small ones.
Nice. Not chalk.
What is the timeline for those?
For the sidewalk murals or the sidewalk murals?
Oh, sorry.
The sidewalk
go ahead.
Approved in January, and so they would be going in January, hopefully, if we can work with the weather.
So I was just thinking maybe if we end up approving Amanda's brilliant idea of the art scavenger hunt thingy, we could do like incorporate the murals of Beaverton. Thank you. I don't know, just something to think about.
Totally, yeah.
Nice. Well, great. That's fantastic. Well, thank you all for joining us this evening. This will, unless there's any last minute items.
Do we have elections or no?
Yeah, we will. So I was just going to adjourn the general meeting and then ask the board members to hang out for 5 minutes and we'll figure out this officers. So with that, meeting adjourned. See some of you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.
I'm not going anywhere, but waving to
Yes. Okay, so we have the full slate to go down. We need chair, vice chair, recorder, BCCI, and treasurer.
I have a quick question. Do these go in the minutes?
Yes, I believe.
Board elections.
I believe so, because they'll probably want to be reported to the community.
Got it.
So
Okay. I
They,
didn't
they do.
agenda, so I just wanted to double check. Okay.
Okay. Okay, floor is open. Or otherwise.
Tom, would you be willing to serve as chair again?
Yeah, I got no problem with that.
I would like to nominate Tom Drain as chair.
I also really like Tom as chair. He's done a great job. I do want to give other people a chance just to say if you're interested.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. Anyone interested?
And it's not going to be like a cutthroat competition.
Jonathan said, "No, thank you."
That was a very emphatic head shaking. Absolutely.
Can I just put a general ask out? Are there any of the people who are current officers who would be unwilling to serve again? Number one. And then this part B of that question is, are there any board members who would be interested in any position on the board? I think we should get those out in front of everyone.
Yeah.
And a quick minutes clarification again, because I want to do this right. Do I need to keep track of who nominates who, or just what the final?
I think what'll end up being is we're going to have a slate of candidates. And
Yeah, we'll have a slate. We'll do it as a slate.
And it'll be approved. If there's an actual election, then we'll. But right now it's kind of a call for officers.
Thank you.
So to reiterate what John asked, is there or anybody who's currently serving want to retire?
I'm happy to say
okay,
BCCI rep.
Gotcha.
That leaves treasurer.
That will leave treasury, and I can't really I'm sure Ryan would happily continue doing whatever. There hasn't been a whole lot to do necessarily, but attending the meetings is, I think, pretty important. It is key, especially to maybe we won't remove him from the board quite yet, but he should, if he's going to be, anybody who's holding office should be in regular attendance.
Well, and I'm not sure about your folks' bylaws, but I know for boards and commissions, all y'all who are on boards and commissions, there are requirements for attendance to maintain your position as a board member.
Oh no, there's absolutely, according to the bylaws, I think if you miss two consecutive meetings, then you're done. So
yeah, we can always add back easily. Like I know there's generally a protocol that we do it once a year, however many, but generally in Highland we were always like, look, things happen. If you want to be on the board and you have a commitment to show up, we'll add you in the middle of the term. That's okay, as long as it's over, people support it. But that leaves Kinsey, Quinn, Kevin. Anyone want to be treasurer?
I don't know, for the sake of being on really quick, just can someone describe the responsibilities of the treasurer?
So as far as I have been able to tell, it is successfully getting your name added to the First Tech account. And then there is some paying out and then receiving of funds, especially for neighborhood grants. And then other than that, it's show up once a month and tell us how much money we got.
Yeah, that's basically it. You would show up if they're basically say look at the statement. There's this much outgoing, this much ingoing. We started with X and we ended with Y, and then you'll be a resource. Like if we have a question in the debate on whether we want to give someone a grant and we need to know how much money is, we look for the treasurer, and that's it. It's pretty simple, straightforward, but it's a really important position, and one that I felt uncomfortable not having Ryan here. I totally get where he's at, and I'm I know he would be here if he could, but he can't, and so it's something we've lacked a little bit, and I think we really need.
Yeah, I agree.
We really
Especially,
need to make a decision.
yeah, since we are hoping to
Okay.
actually do some more this year,
Yeah.
we'll be having a lot more expenditures, and then hopefully attendant with that will be, couch some of this to get maybe some neighborhood grants, to matching grants to multiply the work that we do. And that's kind of, I think that's usually the most, if there are several grants that have money outgoing and ingoing, where there's, keeping a good track of, we've got 2 grants that are going out and we're about to be reimbursed for one from 3 months ago, then making sure that we know that, we're not overcommitted from the budget is pretty much the main thing. Any volunteers?
Is anyone on the board that's not here today, besides Ryan?
Nope.
I think this is it.
This is it.
I'm going to say the
So
reason
which of
I'm
you
not
three?
volunteering is because I don't know if I'm going to be, unfortunately, I don't know if I'm going to be living in Beaverton after April because my lease is up. And therefore, I don't want to commit to a position if I will be leaving the area. So
That is understandable.
that is why. But I just want to say I would love to do it, but I don't want to, something I'm going to.
Okay. Hopefully, we'll get you next year then when you come back.
Yeah,
Don't leave.
You can't leave us.
I know. I don't want to, but I might.
Kevin or Quinn? Quinn, one of you decide.
I am likely going to be approved for planning commission tomorrow night.
Oh.
So I don't think I should.
Well,
I wonder who's left.
Okay.
Thank
we
you
have a
very
slate of
much
candidates.
for for
He was
volunteering
so
to
eager to do
serve the
it.
CBNAC. Quinn.
Maybe this will teach me to start checking my own bank account a little more often.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous about this.
At least you know he'll show up. He'll be
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I will
So do
say.
we-
Yeah, it is. If absolutely necessary, I think it's possible for the chair or vice chair to also hold recorder. Or,
Yeah.
But that's usually assuming that there are fewer than like 5 members of the of the board. So we have enough that we'll try and get some in community involvement and find some and expand our board in 2021. So there is a current slate of posed for CBNAC officers as chair, Thomas Drain, vice chair, John Duggar, recorder, Amanda Clark, BCCI rep, Jonathan Todd-Kourlas, and as treasurer, Quinn Simpson. And
So I think technically we need one of the people that aren't on the slate to
Yeah.
make the motion.
Kenzie, make the motion.
What do I say? I motion to have everybody on the slate approved as our next, what's it called? Our board? No, not our board. What are they?
With
Elected
our
officers.
Yep, that's fine.
I'm really good at language, if we can't tell. It's late. It's late.
I will second that motion.
all right, all in favor?
Cool.
Yoy. Ahoy, hoy. Hooray! Welcome to 2021, everybody. Fantastic. John, Amanda, if you guys are in regular contact, otherwise, I mean, I know we've got like the holidays ahead of us, but if you had any conversations about scavenger hunts or ideas that you wanted to develop, I don't think you'll get any pushback if on like deciding things to do in January.
Yeah, we have to, the only thing is we have to be a little careful with communication around official business because there's public meeting laws. And so I've always erred on the side of not having any conversations outside of this group.
2 things, as long as it's not an agenda item and there's not a quorum.
Yeah. I know, but the whole case that it was based on, the Oregon Supreme Court, like we even have to on the budget committee, if I write any notes in the book, that becomes public law, even if it's outside of the meeting. Like it's just best to not do that, from what I understand.
Maybe we can set some time aside on January's agenda to talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, so January's agenda, I'm going to put an item to basically move forward on. We'll review maybe the things that have been put forth tonight. We've got a few. We've got Kevin's breaking down barriers, the scavenger hunt, a blood drive or shred event. What was the other? Okay, I guess that was it. Dump, but I don't think that's going to happen next year regardless.
And then isn't there a presentation already slated for January as well?
Yeah, there's one neighborhood review meeting so far. I'm honestly surprised that we had one, to be fair. This is a pretty slow time of year. And then it's even slower.
I think what we can do, Tom,
yeah,
is if I remember correctly, you guys did successfully we can have the conversation on whatever project or projects we decide to move forward with. We can vote to have a subcommittee.
Absolutely.
And they can be empowered to work outside of this meeting, and that's fine. But we just need to have that official vote. So why don't we plan on doing that?
Yeah.
That meeting?
What I was basically going to do is, as a plan on having the board approve projects and then establishing working committees, working groups to work on those committees. Probably the only thing that should be discussed then at the board/general meeting level would be about the timing of those. None of them are going to be, I think, have anything that will require expenditures before February. So even approving like budgets or anything can get punted till February or March. Because really, I don't see anything happening until later in the year. And hopefully it'll just be easier
we want to do
do.
it right.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Sure.
We want to make sure that we can get, to help the community or serve the community, and then, encourage other members of the community to be enthusiastic and help us do other things. We want to, as much as getting attendance up is just a matter of finding those people like your neighbor who came last month in attendance, and she said that she only learned about it because she talked to you rather than finding out. So we want to find those people who are interested but who haven't been coming, either because they haven't been aware, they just don't know what we do, or this, that, or the other. And we want them to come and participate, and then end up being treasurer.
That's right.
Quinn doesn't have.
We got a new treasurer though. So.
Well, fantastic. Thank you all for your time, your extra time this evening. I know we ran long. But yeah, thank you all. I've had a great year as chair so far, and I look forward to doing it again some more.
I have a quick question.
Yeah, go for it.
Are these positions official as of this moment or next?
January.
It will be as January 1st. Yeah.
Enjoy your last month of freedom.
So I think that the main thing is I will email Ryan and let him know that somebody else is going to be taking over the treasury, and that I will give him your contact information because I believe I have it. I doubt that he will initiate contact. So at some point, I think probably all that will need to happen is that you will need to coordinate a time with him to go and be put on as a signer on the account. And then at some point next year, once we're sure that that's been established, we'll pass a motion to remove him from the account. And then at some point you would go to First Tech and say, I need to remove this person as an account holder.
Yeah, I can help with all that too.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, sounds good.
And you know what? I know we've been with First Tech, I think for a little while. I'm not sure if Ryan started that account for us or if he moved stuff. But if for any reason we wanted to switch banks, I know that's been contentious for other NAC boards. I think Highland had an issue with that. Was that right? But and I know the different even branches, but that would be kind of, I think this would be the natural time to do it if for some reason we can see an advantage or either disadvantages to staying with First Tech or advantages going with others. I think Miles had been working with some other branches specifically to set up NAC accounts, but that is like something that I kind of remember third hand. Jonathan is saying on point.
I'm a little partial.
Oh.
But.
Okay.
Yeah, is First Tech even a local credit union? I don't know.
But sort of.
Something.
They merged with a larger.
We'll figure it out.
I think they used to be.
Yeah.
They used to be a different credit union. I think they were. Yeah, they weren't Portland Teachers. They may have been.
That was on point.
That was on point. Anyway.
We'll figure it out
we
next
can.
month.
Yeah, we can discuss next month. Great. Happy holidays to all. Be safe and happy.
Thank you.
And yeah, let me know if there's anything that you want added to January's agenda.
Cool.
Awesome.
Bye,
Thank you,
everyone.
guys.
Good night.
The meeting officially adjourned.
Yes, we are adjourned. I need my gavel.